Hey there, how are you today? My name is Dana Damara, and you have landed on Astrocast. This is the new moon report for this upcoming new moon in Aquarius. Now, this is a big one. This is a big new moon, and there's a couple reasons why. First of all, we have the Chinese New Year, okay? And Chinese New Year happens on February 9th. It's in alignment with this new moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is all about change and transformation and speed and seeing life from a higher perspective. Aquarius is about looking at the whole and really realizing that power to the people is much more valuable than top-down structures. It's also it also breathes this energy of an altruistic viewpoint, an altruistic perspective. So we no longer sit in the isolated issues of our own self. We start to realize and remember that we are part of the whole. And so as we move into this new year, this new Chinese New Year, this new moon in Aquarius, Chinese New Year is the year of the dragon, which I won't totally get into, honestly, because I'm not very schooled in it. But it is talked about in certain circles as being a year of good fortune. So yay us. Now I am going to share my screen. So those of you watching on Instagram, you will need to probably go to my YouTube channel if you want to see the rest of this. So let me share my screen. And all right, here we go. Okay, so we have a couple things happening here. First of all, you can see how many planets are coagulating in this third quadrant. So the third quadrant of an astrological chart is really about how we function. We don't see ourselves as separate. We see ourselves as the energy of the whole. And all these planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets in the third quadrant. And I don't count the sun because the sun is a star and not a planet. So we have these 7 planets in one quadrant. And then the rest of these planets are still in the fourth quadrant. So everything is above the horizon, so to speak. So we're in this higher level of thinking just by looking at these planets right now. So I'm going to put my glasses on because I can see a little bit better. All right, so Aquarius new moon is on February 9th at 2:59 p.m. You can find that at the top corner there of the chart there. So everything moves quicker in the sign of Aquarius. Everything is speed, it's air. We came out of this Capricorn era into the Aquarian age, and things are moving quicker. You see it in AI. We've been seeing it in social media for years. We've been seeing it in technology. Things are just going to start to move quicker. It's not going to slow down. I've been saying that for years in my yoga classes. And then big thing, and I have already talked about this. In fact, I did a whole recording on it, but Pluto moved into Aquarius back on January 20th. This is the first time, I mean, we don't see Pluto in its same sign ever, a Pluto return, we call it, because it only happens about 248 years. So maybe we saw it in our last life, but I don't remember. So with Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, this is huge. You can watch the video, but the big thing is that Pluto and Aquarius, um, um, Pluto and the sun are both now in the sign of Aquarius. So this is amplifying this energy. Okay. Now, if you look here, you've got Pluto and Mercury sitting here right next to each other. Okay. Pluto and Mercury they entered the sign of Aquarius at the beginning of the week. And I talked about that in my weekly forecast. So when Pluto and Mercury conjunct each other and move into the sign of Aquarius together, it really amplifies communication. And so any conversations that you're going to have leading up to this new moon is really asking you to pay attention to how you're communicating, what message you're conveying, and really, are you speaking from a level of deep truth? Are you allowing your words to reflect the inner transformation that's happening within you? It's a big moment to start to focus on and acknowledge higher truths for yourself. Okay. Now the sun squares Uranus, and here's the sun. It's within a 1 degree. Here's the deal with sun and Uranus. Okay. Sun is amplifier. Uranus is liberation, change, higher mind thinking. Okay. So when this happens, when they square each other, it has the potential to speed up liberation, which means a couple of things. One is you can have flashes of insight where you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe I didn't figure this out before. Um, or you could immediately want to end ties with a thought that you're having, a belief that you're having, a person that you're having a relationship with, a career, an environment. Like you can have this overwhelming, like, this needs to stop right now. Here's what I'll say is to be mindful with this energy, because if we pull the plug too fast or without using the power of Pluto and Mercury through communication, we invite in a repeat. So get grounded before you have a conversation, before you pull a plug, before you say, I don't want to do this anymore. Have a breath, have conversation, get grounded, whatever you do to get grounded. Because what will happen in that situation is you will actually expand your awareness and your perspective, and you may get a flash of insight that's going to support you in what I like to call clearing karma, because that's really what you're doing. You're clearing karma. So this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful energy. It's just volatile, so you need to be mindful. And with all those planets in the same vicinity, it creates a sense of volatility. So you gotta just be mindful. Now, one thing I will say is, see how the sun and the moon are at 20 degrees, right? I'm not even going to get into the numerology, but I will say this, that 2 is the number of relationship coming together. So the sun and the moon, this is the 4th consecutive new moon at 20 degrees. So we're really talking a lot here about relationships, how we function in them, what's our relationship to uh, individuals, ourself, our higher self, our inner child, like whatever relationship you're fully focused on right now, this is coming into play with this new moon. There's a couple little transits I want to talk about. I want to get to Chiron and the North Node, which is really important, but these other little things are worthy of acknowledging. Mercury is squaring Saturn. So when Mercury squares Saturn, we're talking a lot about, again, communication. I'm sorry, not Saturn, Jupiter. I don't know what I was thinking. I was looking here at Jupiter. It's right here. Here is your Jupiter. And then here is your Jupiter, and then here is Mercury, okay? So, and it's within 1 degree. So these two planets, Mercury and Jupiter, Mercury is about communication. Mercury is about lower mind thinking, so our day-to-day activities and how we kind of manage our time. Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is abundance. Jupiter is that wider perspective of how do I allow myself to get out of the minutia, right? So having these like having a focus on situations that maybe are repetitive. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I've had this conversation a million times before, or I really need to sit down and look at this lesson because I don't want to do this again. These things will get you out of the minutia and into the abundance that Mercury and Jupiter can offer. It's an amazing opportunity to acknowledge expansion, opportunities. Just again, I think the breath is one of the most important pieces of all of this, because when you take a breath before you respond or before you judge, everything always works out. But when we react, it doesn't work so well. And then 2 other things here. Venus is trining Uranus. So Venus is down here. And then Uranus is up here. So there's a blue line that connects them that tells me that it's a harmonious aspect. So we've got Venus trining Uranus, which is really quite beautiful. Venus is about love and abundance and money and beauty. And when it trines Uranus, it gives us the opportunity to see things from that higher perspective, from that beautifying perspective. Maybe rearrange your furniture somewhere in your house or something, get some new fresh air in there. And then I want to just say with all of this is before I drop into Chiron and North Node, all of these aspects with Pluto, with Mercury, with Uranus, with the sun, with all the planets in these two higher quadrants, we are really, as a collective, being offered the opportunity to see things from a higher perspective. And all you have to do to understand that from a different level is, however many years ago, we didn't have access to our phones where we could get information 24/7. However many years before that, we didn't even have a TV. It was like, telegram or radio, right? And so if we just look at even from my grandmother's perspective, right? From that generation, they have seen so much change in their life, right? And so much speed. So we're moving into this era where we are seeing more than ever before. So one of the things we have got to understand is that our discernments of what we allow into our life as far as people, energy, environment is so important. Our intuition is extremely valuable. It is like next to our breath, our intuition is our second commodity. Because our intuition, when we listen to the breath and discern our space and our surroundings, our intuition is going to just amplify and tell us exactly what way to go. And we all know what happens when we don't follow our intuition. I do it too. And then we'll be able to see truth, like real truth. Okay, so, and that's not always comfortable. So just be mindful of that. But I want to just talk a little bit about for like 2 minutes on Chiron and the North Node. They are conjunct one another. They are right there. Well, they're moving toward conjuncting each other. It'll happen on February 11th, but the energy is there for this new moon. This is an energy of higher heart healing. Chiron is healing. North Node is your karma. So my invitation to you is to pay attention or even dig a little bit deeper with these energies at play and ask yourself, how is this healing my energy? And you'll know if you look at your Chiron placement and your North Node placement, and you just take a moment to say to yourself, okay, what can I do to align myself a little bit deeper with these things that are going on in my life? Remove myself as a victim and see the higher perspective. Now, if you don't know where your Chiron or your North Node is, go to myastrocast.com, put in your email. It'll spit out a bunch of emails to you. It'll tell you how to find these things on your chart. Now, you might not totally understand it, but at least you'll know. And they look like this. Those of you who have Chiron in Aries, or North Node in Aries, you've been going through it for the last couple of years now. So FYI. And of course, if you want me to read your chart, please let me know. You can find me at danademaro.com or myastrocast.com leads to the same place. All roads lead to danademaro.com in this case. And you'll just get a little more information. It's like, how can I align my energy with what's happening right now? This is a super powerful new moon. I can't even say it enough. It's a beautiful new moon to hit the reset button, to heal your heart, to align with what you really came here to do and let go of the rest with no regrets. So all I'm going to say for now, please reach out to me if I can support you in any of that. And in the meantime, have a beautiful day. Namaste.